Hey guys, it's Nix back with another video. Today I'm gonna be talking about 3 Pokemon that are currently untiered in PokeMMO that I believe should actually have a lot more usage and should at least be NU by tiering. So the first mon that I would like to start off with today is actually Lilligant. Now obviously Lilligant has a pretty decent base stat total. It's 480, which isn't terrible, which isn't also not very great, but it is above average, I would say. Obviously, you're leaning more towards a special attacker. It's somewhat defensive. It's obviously not very high. If it was like 85, that would be great. But 75 is okay. It's got a okay HP stat. But it also, if you look at its special attack, that seems to stick out the most. And as well as its speed. It has, for NU rating, it definitely has, when you compare it to the rest of the tier, it definitely has a decent speed tier in there. So it can slot in nicely to one of your teams. So when looking at Lilligant's stats, it's obviously untiered. So we're going to head over here. These are its stats. And first off, I would like to start with the fact that it gets the ability Chlorophyll. Now, Chlorophyll is a really useful ability. Of course, that means that your speed will be doubled in Sun. So you could run it on a Sun team. You won't really get much use with Own Tempo. It can prevent, confusion, and it can't be intimidated, but you're not really running a physical set, of course. You're gonna definitely want to stick with Chlorophyll. You'll get double speed in Sunlight, and on top of that, you can also have a move set of, if you wanted to set up Sun yourself, you could have Sunny Day, which will benefit the move Growth and Weather Ball, which will be really useful for Lilligant, because Lilligant generally only has grass hitting moves or grass type moves that it can hit with. And that'll be very useful because you give yourself a fire type move that can, if we look at the NU tier, so basically fire can hit quite a few mons. Let's see, what do we got? We got Sceptile, and you can hit a lot of things for neutral damage as well. You can hit Steelix, so these are some big threats that would otherwise be difficult for Lilligant to counter. Lilligant can take on Alomomola, which is a big threat. You can take on a Scavalier, that's huge. You got some decent mons that you can take care of pretty well. Kingler, which I don't even know why anybody would want to use Kingler in the first place. Could run like an agility set, I guess. But anyways, so yeah, Lilligant definitely could do some damage with being on a Sun team. And there's a lot of options with that special attack stat. Then, of course, other moves that I would recommend that you run on are Quiver Dance, which are very useful. You could run that over Growth. It's kind of your own choice, however you want to build your Lilligant. And then, like I said, Weather Ball is a huge one because you get that fire type coverage. You can also have water coverage and rock coverage, which would be really useful as well. You can run Energy Ball, Giga Drain, and then for more support options, you have Heal Bell, Reflect, and Light Screen. Now, with those 3 moves, you can easily kind of buff up Lilligant's defenses, which it would normally struggle with. If you had to choose one, I would definitely go with the Reflect at least, if you wanted to have a screens on it. But you know what? The item that I would recommend that you have on Lilligant would also be either, you could run 3 options. You have Life Orb, you have the Heat Rock, and you have Leftovers. Those are probably the best 3 items to run on Lilligant. Just to get out as much damage as possible and to either recover as much health as possible. Because once you build up those Quiver Dances, you are going to become quite bulky. Now, obviously, I'm going to talk about some potential moves that this Pokemon could have, but they aren't currently in the game. It could potentially have Pollen Puff. If they were to add Pollen Puff, that is a base 90 special attacking bug type move, which is very useful in the competitive scene, especially in doubles. Pollen Puff can hit the... if you are in doubles, it can hit its opponent, or not its opponent, it can hit its teammate with Pollen Puff, and it will recover HP, which is a pretty useful move. And with Pollen Puff, you can just hit Psychic, Dark types, grass types, other opposing grass types, which would be really useful if it did get that move. But unfortunately, that is not in PokeMMO right now. So next up, there is, for the EVs, I would recommend that you run 252 special attack, 252 speed, and 6 in either special defense or defense. That is going to be your best bet with Lilligant, trying to get as much damage output as possible. So, yeah, I think Lilligant is a very unique mon that has a lot of potential, and I think it should definitely get some more usage. I think it has, like I said, a lot of potential, and it could be very strong. Now, the next Pokemon that I would like to talk about is Glaceon. Now, Glaceon is, of course, one of the evolutions, which everybody loves. It has a very nice base stat total. It's bulky, and it has a big damage. It has a very large special attack. With 130, it matches Espeon. And you can basically hit a lot of things really hard for neutral ice type damage. Now this Pokemon gets a wide variety of moves, of course. I'll go over those in just a sec. Now, one thing that sticks out for Glaceon is the fact that ice types are getting a buff, and now that's added to PokeMMO, I believe. So basically, in now what it is called Snow, you get the 1.5 times boost to your defense stat. So that is going to be very, very useful for Glaceon because you have this base 110, which is a pretty enormous defense stat. Even though ice types aren't generally defensive, you can still be very bulky with this. So yeah, you'll have a very nice defense stat matched with a very high special attack stat. So with the ability, I would say that you should go for Snow Cloak or Ice Body. I recommend that. I mean, I would say Ice Body would be the better one if you had to pick one. You just get that basically leftovers recovery. And on top of Ice Body, you could also run leftovers, or you could run the Ice Rock to make Snowscape last longer. So the moveset that I would recommend for Glaceon is either containing Blizzard, Snowscape, Shadow Ball, Signal Beam, or Calm Mind. So 4 of those 5 moves would be really good for Glaceon. And for the EVs, I would recommend that you do 252 HP, 252 special attack, and 6 in the special defense stat or defense stat. I really do prefer that you would go with the 252 HP over speed, just because you'll be tanking hits. Glaceon is definitely a big threat in the the NU tier. It will be able to. Not many things in the NU tier can hit extremely hard. If we go look right now. Let's see if there's anything that really threatens Glaceon. So we're looking for physical attackers or special attackers that are threatening. Glaceon really could put up with a lot of these. The only thing I would say it would struggle with might be Hariyama. But it does have that defense buff. We got to remember that. So Hariyama or Hitmontop would be one where it might struggle against. But, it's going to be one-shotting Altaria. It's going to be one-shotting Golurk, Shreddigan. Easy. It could probably 2-3 shot Slowbro and Slowking. Definitely one-shot Golem or about 2-shot it, because if it has Sturdy, which is up to whoever. If you want to run Sturdy, that's you. Then there's Aerodactyl, where it'll easily one-shot Sceptile. There's a lot of good options for it. Now, a potential move that Glaceon could have is actually Freeze Dry. And I'm pretty sure, if we double-check here, I know that I don't think Freeze Dry is actually in the game. Yeah, I don't think it's in the game yet. I believe it might be a Gen 6 move. But if they were to add Freeze Dry, this would be really huge for Glaceon. You could literally one-shot so many things with that. You could one-shot Swampert. You could one-shot Gastrodon. You could one-shot Pelipper. That would be really big for Glaceon to have that move. That would be really good for it. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it for Glaceon. And I would also run, I didn't think I mentioned this before, but for Lilligant, I would say Timid Nature, and then Glaceon, I would recommend Modest Nature. I think that would just be best to get as much damage out as it can. All right, and that is going to be it for Glaceon. Now, the last Pokemon that I would like to talk about today is actually Scolipede. Now, you might be thinking, Scolipede is a pretty niche Pokemon, and it doesn't even have its hidden ability yet. So this is all going off of if it got its hidden ability. This Pokemon would be pretty busted in my opinion. It gets speed boost if you did not know that. On top of its already pretty massive 112 speed. So obviously its ability would be speed boost. And then the following moveset that I would recommend, you could choose from any of these, would be Mega Horn, Poison Jab, Earthquake, Superpower, Swords Dance, or Aqua Tail. Now I would definitely want to run Swords Dance as a permanent kind of move on it. I would not run it without Swords Dance. So I would probably recommend the set that I would personally go for would be Mega Horn, Poison Jab, Earthquake, and Swords Dance. I think that would be probably your best bet. If we look at the NU tier one more time, you can one-shot Pikachu, Earthquake. You got Alakazam getting one-shot. Golem could probably get one-shot with a Swords Dance boosted Earthquake. You got Slowbro and Slowking both getting one-shot with Mega Horn. You got a lot of options. Lantern would normally be somewhat of a threat because of how bulky it can be, but you can just one-shot it with Earthquake. It's very frail on the physical side, so there's a lot of options. Azumarill could probably get one-shot by Poison Jab or Mega Horn. There's a lot of bug neutral or poison neutral mons in this tier that can easily get one-shot. if we look more into, Cinchino. Oh my god, I can't say it. Chinchino. Chinchino can be one shot with Poison Jab or Mega Horn. Earthquake on Drapion. There's a lot of different options for Scolipede. Now, if we go ahead and look at its stats one more time, obviously it has that massive 100 in attack. So, the EVs that I would recommend that you run for would be 252 attack, 252 speed, and either 6 in either of the defenses, either special or physical. And then for potential moves that this Pokemon could get if they were to add them, these are kind of more niche moves, but it can get Throat Chop, which is a physical dark type move that does 70. I believe its base power is 70. If I check here, yeah. It is, oh no, sorry, it is a base 80 and it disables sound moves, so that would be pretty good. Smart Strike is not very useful. It's a steel type move that does only base 70. It's not too great, but it is a potential move. And then you obviously have Stomping Tantrum. You could run that instead of Earthquake, and basically that would get around like things like Wide Guard. That would also get around things like so if you were to miss your Mega Horn, you would basically do double damage the next turn, which would be a base 150 ground type physical move, which would be pretty insane in my opinion. That would do a lot of damage for sure. And then for Scolipede, I would recommend that you were to run a either Jolly or Adamant nature. Of course, you're getting that speed boost. So in the NU tier, Scolipede should be able to take pretty much like at least one hit from most things in this tier. So of course you're gonna get a speed boost up right away, and you can do some real damage with Scolipede. But anyways, that's gonna be it for today's video. I hope you guys liked the analysis that I did. I really enjoyed looking at these mons. I think they all have the potential to be really good in at least the NU tier. I really hope that some of these mons get either some new moves or some new, of course, their hidden abilities to be viable in this tier. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day.